3 years after his wife died, Michael Turner had become an expert at pretending he was okay. He smiled at his 8-year-old daughter every morning while packing her lunch. He remembered to sign permission slips, braid messy ponytails with clumsy fingers, and clap the loudest at school concerts. He paid the bills on time. He showed up for work. He answered people with, "We're doing fine." But every night after Emma had fallen asleep, he sat alone at the kitchen table staring at the empty chair across from him. That chair had once belonged to Sarah. Sarah, who laughed too loudly at sitcoms. Sarah, who danced barefoot while making pancakes. Sarah, who knew exactly how to calm Emma's fears and exactly how to calm Michael's. Cancer had taken her in 11 brutal months. The casseroles had stopped coming after 6 weeks. The sympathy cards had stopped arriving after 6 months. The world had moved on. Michael hadn't. He lived in Columbus, Ohio, in a small blue house at the end of a quiet street. To everyone else, he looked like a devoted father doing his best. Inside, he was exhausted. He couldn't remember the last time someone had asked him how he was doing and actually waited for the answer. One rainy Thursday afternoon, Michael rushed into the grocery store after work with Emma trailing behind him. "Can we get ice cream?" Emma asked hopefully. "We'll see," Michael replied automatically. He pushed the cart down crowded aisles, mentally reviewing everything he still had to do that evening. Laundry, homework, dinner, fix the leaking kitchen faucet. He didn't notice Emma had stopped walking until he felt the cart jerk backward. "Emma?" She was standing beside an elderly woman, struggling to reach a box of cereal from the top shelf. Without hesitation, Emma grabbed a store employee passing nearby. "Excuse me," she said politely. "Can you help her?" The employee smiled and retrieved the cereal. "Oh, thank you, sweetheart," the woman said warmly. Emma nodded. "It's what my mom used to do." The words hit Michael like a punch to the chest. The elderly woman's expression softened. "You must miss her very much." Emma glanced up at her father. "I do," she whispered. "But I think Daddy misses her even more." Michael swallowed hard. Before he could respond, another voice spoke nearby. "Can I ask you something?" He turned to see a young woman arranging flowers at a small booth near the store entrance. Her name tag read Hannah. "What?" Michael asked cautiously. She looked directly at him. When was the last time someone asked how you're doing? It was such a simple question. Yet Michael stood frozen. Customers moved around them. Shopping carts rattled across tile floors. Emma waited quietly beside him. And suddenly Michael realized he didn't know how to answer. Hannah seemed to understand. "You don't have to tell me," she said gently. "I just think people forget that when someone loses a spouse, everyone checks on the kids, but not always the surviving parent." Something inside Michael cracked. Because she was right. Everyone asked about Emma. "How's Emma adjusting? Is Emma okay? Does Emma need counseling?" No one asked about him. "Not really." "I don't remember," he admitted quietly. Hannah nodded. "I figured." Emma tugged at Michael's sleeve. "Daddy?" He blinked rapidly. "I'm okay," he said. For the first time in years, he realized he wasn't. A week later, Michael returned to the grocery store. He told himself he needed milk, but somehow he found himself near the flower booth. Hannah was helping a little boy choose sunflowers. When she noticed Michael, she smiled. "How are you doing?" It wasn't small talk. He could tell she genuinely wanted to know. "Honestly?" he said. "Honestly, I'm tired."
Michael becomes a
smile
conduit
softened.
for kindness.
"That sounds
sparking
honest."
a cycle of compassion
Over the next
that
few
spreads
months,
from
they
heart to
talked
heart,
occasionally.
transforming lives.
Nothing dramatic,
One simple act
just
at a time.
conversations. She learned Sarah had loved road trips and blueberry pie. He learned Hannah volunteered at a community center teaching art classes. She never pushed, never tried to fix him. She simply listened. Meanwhile, Emma adored her. One Saturday, Hannah invited them to help serve meals at a local shelter. "I think it's important for kids to see kindness in action," she told Emma. Michael almost declined. He already felt overwhelmed. But Emma's excitement changed his mind. The shelter was crowded. Volunteers moved quickly. Families lined up patiently. At first, Michael focused only on completing tasks. Refill coffee, carry trays, wipe tables. Then he noticed something. People with almost nothing were helping each other. An elderly man shared his dessert. A teenager entertained toddlers while exhausted mothers ate. A woman donated her winter coat to someone colder than herself. Humanity existed in these quiet moments no one posted online. Emma noticed too. "Daddy," she whispered, "everyone here helps each other." Michael looked around. They do. That night, driving home, Emma asked, "Do you think Mommy would be proud of us?" Michael tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "I think she'd be very proud." Emma stared out the window thoughtfully. "I think helping people makes missing someone hurt a little less." Out of the mouths of children, weeks turned into months. Slowly, Michael began reconnecting with life. He fixed the faucet, started jogging again, accepted invitations he'd previously declined. He still missed Sarah. He always would. But grief no longer felt like drowning. One December evening, a snowstorm knocked out power across their neighborhood. Michael stepped outside to check the breaker box and found several neighbors struggling. An elderly couple needed blankets. A single mother needed help starting a generator. Someone else needed groceries delivered before roads became impassable. Without thinking, Michael organized everyone. He coordinated rides, shared supplies, checked on vulnerable residents. Hours later, exhausted and cold, he returned home. Hannah, who had come by earlier with extra batteries, handed him a mug of hot chocolate. "You've helped everyone tonight," she said. Michael shrugged. It wasn't a big deal. It was to them. Emma looked up from the couch. "Daddy helps people because Mommy taught him how." Tears burned Michael's eyes. Sarah had taught him that. Kindness wasn't about grand gestures. It lived in ordinary choices. The following spring brought unexpected news. The community center where Hannah volunteered was facing closure due to budget cuts. Hundreds of children relied on its after-school programs. Hannah was devastated. "We can't let it close," Emma declared. Michael hesitated. The old version of himself would have stayed quiet, the grieving man who believed he had nothing left to give. But something had changed. He remembered all the people who had shown compassion. The shelter volunteers, his neighbors, Hannah, Emma. One simple question had reminded him he mattered too. So he stepped forward. Within days, Michael organized a fundraiser. Local businesses donated supplies. Parents volunteered. Neighbors spread the word. People who barely knew one another came together. The event exceeded every expectation. Enough money was raised not only to keep the center open, but to expand several programs. As applause filled the gymnasium, Hannah found Michael standing near the back. "You did this," she said. He shook his head. "No." He glanced around the crowded room. "We did this." Emma squeezed between them. "I helped too." "You absolutely did," Michael agreed. Later that evening, after Emma had fallen asleep, Michael sat alone at the kitchen table. The same table where grief had once consumed him. Moonlight filtered through the window. The chair across from him remained empty. But for the first time, it didn't symbolize only loss. It symbolized love. The kind that changes you. The kind that stays? He thought about Sarah, about Emma, about Hannah, about all the invisible battles people carried every day. Then he remembered the question that had altered the course of his life. "How are you doing?" Such ordinary words, yet they had reminded him he wasn't just surviving. He was human. He deserved care too. The next morning, Michael dropped Emma off at school. As he turned to leave, he noticed another father sitting alone on a bench outside the entrance. Tired eyes, forced smile, heavy shoulders.